As a real estate broker that works with other agents in a coaching capacity, I coach attorneys on their marketing. I talk to small business people about how to build their business. It's my contention that 90% of transformation is mindset to get people to take the right actions. I think the same is true in buying real estate. My experience is that there are people who go through a transformation from not owning any property to buying property and accumulating wealth. And their mindset is so important, they keep themselves positive. So why is so much of the real estate industry news negative? I don't know. I think it keeps people in their websites. We're going to get into that in one of the worst corporates, Forbes Magazine. But before we do that, let's get into the market, make sure we understand where the numbers really are today. I would say there's two main factors in any market. In economics, you have supply and demand. Demand in the real estate market is driven primarily by interest rates. Lower rates, more demand; higher rates, less demand. And the supply side would be inventory. How many houses are for sale? So let's take a look on the demand side. On the demand side, the mortgage rates, where are they holding today? And you'll see that we've been all year between 6 to 7%. We were slightly above it last week at 7.12%. And it came back down and closed out at 7.05. Now, the significance is not that it's over 7. There's been this resistance, but now we're slightly above it. Does that mean we're going to go to 8 or 9? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't feel like it today. There's no way to predict the future. But as we sit now, rates have been at a level that have been consistently supportive of people who are looking to buy property. So the rates aren't an issue. They've been very modest and overall pretty stable. How about the supply or the inventory? Well, we're still at record low levels of inventory. You cannot have a housing crash with these levels of inventory. It's impossible. We're now below both years of the pandemic, and we're about half of the prior year's lowest ever in history. So with low inventory for sale, the only way that you can have a housing crash is more sellers want to sell than their buyers, and that's clearly not the case. There's about half as many sellers by any historical standard. So in that sense, a housing crash can happen. How are we looking in Los Angeles? Well, specifically in LA, I use a research report called the Altos Research, and it just ticked up to a 45 from it's a 44, been about the same for a while now. It's been 43, 44, 45, 44. Basically a slight seller's market. And you look at the key indices, median list price is holding steady. And I think the main number is the per square foot, what you pay to get a square foot of house in LA. And it's been staying pretty steady in the range of $850 per square foot. So we can see overall, the real estate market has been steady. The fundamentals are still pretty good. Now, you'll hear news reports about, well, the year-over-year increase is less than last year. Let's take a look at that on a graph. This is Case-Shiller. What's true is last year we had enormous rises in prices from 21 and 22, but now in 23 we have much more moderate increases. It's increase less than the prior increase, so they call it a decrease to get you all riled up. But in reality, when you add all this up, our market has been pretty consistent, pretty solid. In fact, if you look at the major 5 indices of real estate prices, Case-Shiller, the Federal Housing Finance Administration, CoreLogic, Black Knight, and Zillow, these are the national data sources people look at. You can see overall the 23 pace is about between 5 and 10% increase in value. Well, that's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal opportunity. Don't forget, when you buy a house, there's tax advantages, there's depreciation, there's interest, you're leveraging your money because of the mortgage. So it's a phenomenal number, and these are actually above historic norms. So if you want to look at where our prices today by historical standards, they are solid and getting better. One of the Chicken Little scare stories of last year and year before was delinquencies had gone up. Well, it's true. Delinquencies went up during the pandemic, of course. It was a pandemic. But since then, not only had delinquencies come down, they're now below the historic level prices of the last period of time. You have to, in fact, to get lower delinquency ratios, you have to go back to prior to 2007. Now, we actually are issuing more riskier loans now. We have FHA loans, VA loans at higher percentages. So the fact that delinquencies are down means the market overall is pretty solid, and certainly there would not appear to be a crash in sight. Another kind of chicken little story for lately is about homeowners insurance. Now, it's true, and it's bad, that homeowner insurance companies are leaving California, leaving Florida. Those are their prices are going up significantly because the cost of things to repair things for an insurance company have gone up dramatically, as well as the regulations. But it's certainly not destroying the market, or in the case of, this is Housing Wire. Now, these are people who charge you money for their content. So kind of bait and switch you up front. Insurance carriers access rattles housing markets. It didn't rattle the housing market. It's something paying attention to. It's costing homeowners more money. It's causing them to have to shop to get a better price. If you have a homeowner insurance bill that goes up, call me. I'll introduce you to other agents to try to get you a better price. But what they do in their article, they quote poor Susan Gregory. She got an estimate on her home on her 120-year-old St. Augustine, Florida. Now, I happen to know St. Augustine, Florida. I think it's the first incorporated city in America. It's a very old historic city with a lot of historic homes. When you try to insure a home that's 120 years old, it's often designated historical. It's very expensive to repair those because you need certain materials to be period consistent and so on. So this is not normal. Now, they have a story here where her insurance went from $8,800 a year to $36,000. That's a lot. But it's not their payment would go if she signed with the new company. That's the key factor there. So all this is saying is she got a quote she didn't like. And my guess is her insurance went up like everybody's, probably 20 to 30%. Not good. Not enough to rattle the market or cause people to have to give up their homes. And so there's a case where I think Housing Wire charges money because the rest of the story is behind their paywall. I think they're probably not worth what you pay for it. Another example of, I think, fear-mongering, because they have to get attention, is my trade association, the National Association of Realtors. They have an article, mortgage rates go up right as the housing market melts down. Now, rates went up from 6.81, to 6.81 from 6.78. It's almost statistically insignificant how much they've gone up, but their title makes it sound like the housing market is melting down because of this, not because of this. News to me, I know the housing market's melting down. You know, it's just crazy how they want you to click on their ads, and this is, I'm ashamed. I'm a realtor, and I think we should do better than that. But the worst of the week, the award goes to, also behind the paywall, Forbes Magazine. Forbes has their article this week titled, let me pull up on the screen, Housing Market Predictions, When Will Housing Prices Be Affordable Again? Now think about that for a second. When will they be affordable again? Well, when were they last affordable? Are you saying they're only affordable during the pandemic? They're certainly higher than they were pre-pandemic, but so are incomes. So is wealth. So is savings. So when were housing prices affordable more than today? And I think the other thing is I would ask is, what does affordable mean? See, I deal with buyers every day writing offers on my listings. They have enough money for a down payment and income to qualify for a loan. I get a pre-approval letter. It's affordable for them. Every listing I have has multiple offers on it, meaning there's more buyers. Now, buyers could step up their offers by 2%, 3% and get the property and win it. Does that mean it's not affordable? That's 2%, the 2% too conservative? No. So I think an article like this, what it does is it plants in your mind that somehow you're a victim if you can't buy a house because housing prices aren't affordable. Well, they're being affordable every day. You just need to tighten your belt, work harder, save more money, cut expenses, maybe settle on a lower priced house, find a good deal, fix it up. And that's what I did in my first house. We lived in it for 1 year. We bought it, fixed it up, and flipped it, made $100,000 and put that into a house that we couldn't afford previously, but now without profit we could. So I think this is really bad. I think Forbes is, of course, they want you to click on the website and they have advertisements. If you go on their website for mortgage rates and such. So rates, it's funny. Home prices aren't affordable. They're not saying, oh, don't bother shopping for mortgages on a website. They're saying they're not affordable, but gee, if you want a mortgage, just come right here. How does it make any sense? So what should you do? As always, you should do what's best for you. If you can afford a home, and that's the best choice for you and or your family, buy a house, by all means. If you need to sell a house, don't worry about what the market's doing. Do what's best for you. It's a good time to buy or sell if you have the right plan. I think the right agent to help you make that plan and execute it to make it happen. So as always, let's get together. If I can help, call, text, or email. If I can help in any way, and as always, remember to make today